Could it be a bird, a plane, or an overgrown bug? You've probably never seen this helicopter, or maybe you've seen it and wondered if it's real. S-64 air crane helicopters certainly look like no other, with the exception of the CH-54 Tarhe, which is the retired U.S. Army version of the aircraft. They were made to lift heavy objects, not to carry passengers. There are just 3 pilot seats in this aircraft and no passenger seats, making it a piece of equipment that is very focused on its mission. This unique helicopter has a fascinating story to tell. People are often curious about the S-64 air crane when they see it. It's sometimes associated with firefighting, as it's been known to drop water over wildfires in the mountains. Its large size, orange color, and shape that resembles a cricket, praying mantis, or some other kind of insect can make it seem like an odd object. It has twin Pratt & Whitney turbine jet engines and 6 large main rotors, which give it a lifting capacity of 25,000 pounds. An anti-rotation rigging system was patented for it to keep external loads secured, also working to give it incredible placement capabilities. A rear-facing pilot controls the precision placement work. The aircraft has been used to build over 8,000 miles of power lines, a testament to its placement capabilities. The S-64 has a broader range of applications than many other aircraft in the world, and it's also well known. The aviation company Ericsson Incorporated, which produces and operates the S-64, has saved lives and property internationally. When the air crane helicopter was first developed, many of the heavy lift objects it moves, relocates, or lifts today didn't exist, such as HVAC systems on massive warehouse-style buildings. Back in the early 1970s, when all of this began, most of the infrastructure was smaller, less resilient, or non-existent, such as power lines, television antennas, and bridges. Ericsson founder Jack Ericsson bought the S-64 Skycrane aircraft from Sikorsky, and many still refer to it by that name today, although it's being produced as the S-63 air crane. In purchasing the aircraft, Jack Ericsson was developing a business to transport timber from the mountains. For him, it was important to be able to transport heavy loads up mountains without destroying the wilderness with big trucks. Jack got into the business through his father, who owned a logging company. Helicopter logging was also on the agenda of Wes LaMatta, a friend of Ericsson's who founded Columbia Helicopters. They're credited with inventing helicopter logging. His company used a large double-rotor helicopter, the Boeing 234, which is unique in its own right and is the civilian version of the U.S. Army CH-47 Chinook. While the Skycrane has no fuselage and isn't meant to carry passengers, the Boeing helicopter can carry more than 20 people. Ericsson continued to use the Sikorsky Skycrane while LaMatta retained the Boeing 234 as the industry evolved. Thanks to the precision placement aft seat and the 2 pilot seats, the uses for this helicopter kept expanding after Ericsson incorporated it into his business. As both an inventor and an entrepreneur, Jack Ericsson did not deter from taking risks. Ericsson's enthusiasm about the Skycrane's capabilities motivated him to approach Sikorsky to purchase the rights to manufacture S-64 air crane helicopters, to make parts, and to provide support to existing owners, being convinced that it was an outstanding piece of equipment. Sikorsky had been invested in the aircraft, but was occupied with other projects. Ultimately, they decided that they didn't want to continue making Skycranes as original equipment manufacturers. The S-64 air crane was born when they sold the type certificate to Ericsson in 1992. Jack Ericsson selected orange as the color for the aircraft early on, and it stuck. One of Jack Ericsson's first inventions after he had obtained the plane was making the fire tank attached to the body of the Skycrane, where the fuselage would normally be. In no time at all his wheels began spinning, or his rotor blades whirring, as he tried to figure out what could be done to make the aircraft operate like a Swiss Army knife. Other features of the aircraft besides the fire or water tank include cargo hoists, a shock and pendant lift, and more. Air crane pilots have typically been trained in the military or in civilian roles before moving to Ericsson to fly the S-64. Most have flown Chinooks or other aircraft similar to the air crane before. According to Ericsson's chief pilot, Justin Rath, most of their air crane pilots come from the civilian utility helicopter community. Pilots with experience in heavy helicopters, vertical reference, and multi-crew operations are preferred to meet the demands of construction, logging, and firefighting missions with the air crane. Rath says it's hard to find pilots for the air crane, stating there are plenty of pilots interested in flying the crane, but finding one who has the necessary skills to become an air crane captain is a challenge. Out of dozens of applicants, only a handful are selected. Air crane pilots receive a lot of attention. Pilots who pass the test and become employed flying an S-64 air crane helicopter have a reward, according to Rath, who said in addition to the allure of flying such a large aircraft, Erickson is a trusted name in the helicopter industry, which makes this a popular choice with pilots. A helicopter might fly an aerial firefighting mission on an island in Greece, put out a fire on a high-rise building in Seoul, South Korea, or drop water on a wildfire in Northern California. Currently, Erickson has 18 S-64 air crane helicopters in its fleet, and about 45 others are in service worldwide, owned and operated by other companies. The orange air crane draws a crowd wherever it goes. Air crane pilots and the crew who support its mission are extremely proud of the air crane. It's an honor for both pilots and maintainers to educate the public about the capabilities of their aircraft. Rath added, air crane helicopters are evolving towards the future. The S-64's design and operational capabilities are being redesigned after 50 years of development and missions around the world. Many parts of the aircraft will be reimagined, including a glass cockpit and avionics, autonomous flight, night vision goggles, and more. American innovation is at the heart of the story of the S-64 air crane helicopter. It's a story about the origin of an idea that made a difference. As the Erickson Company is celebrating 50 years in business, its employees are proud to be associated with it. Having grown from a legacy to a legend, it is a fascinating company with an iconic aircraft. What do you think? Subscribe, folks.